Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to solve Cambridge O-Level Chemistry Paper 2 Theory. For the session of October-November 2024, we have the subject variant, subject code is 5070 and the variant of this paper is 21. We have 1 hour 45 minutes for this paper and this paper is carrying 80 marks. So we're going to start our question paper from question number 1. Question number 1 is from the topic of atomic structure and some sort of periodic table. Question number 1a. Figure 1.1 shows the electronic configuration of 5 atoms D, E, F, G, H. We can see D, E, F, G and H. Answer the question about these electronic configuration. Each electronic configuration may be used once, more than once or not at all. Okay. State which electronic configuration D, E, F, G or H represent an atom of an element of group 6 in the periodic table. Group 6 have the characteristic that they have 6 electrons in their outermost shell. So we need to identify. If we look at from the given option, G is that has 6 electrons in its outermost shell, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to put our answer G in the space. Okay, moving to second part, an atom that forms an ion that give a little color in a flame test. So you need to know that this is a typical test of potassium. You need to memorize this, otherwise you will not be able to answer that. And potassium has the atomic structure of 19, so 2, 8, 8 and 1. So H is showing that the configuration of potassium. So we're going to write answer over H over here. An atom of a monatomic gas. Monatomic gases are those that have the complete outermost shell, so they are the noble gases. And from the given options, we can see that F is have completed its 8 outermost electron in their last shell, so it is a neon gas. So you can write F from the given option. Moving to next part, an atom of element that is used in the treatment of the domestic water supply to remove taste and odor. So we know that this is carbon that is used, and carbon has the electronic configuration like that, 2 and 4. So you need to put your answer E. An atom that forms a stable ion by losing 2 electrons. So it means that it have 2 electrons in their outermost shells, and it forms positive 2 ions. So we have to identify which shell is containing 2 electrons in their last shell. So D is that option in which the last shell has 2 electrons. So option number D is the right one. Okay. Part B. Deduce the number of protons and neutrons in the chromium atom shown. Number of protons are 24. And how many number of neutrons would be 53 minus 24, and that would be equal to 29 number of neutrons. So this was an easy, simple question. Moving to question number 2. Again, question number 2 is from the topic of contact process. Its variant 22 was also carrying the same. These two 21 and 22 variants are comes very similar to each other. Okay, iron is extracted in the blast furnace by the reduction of iron 3 oxide with carbon monoxide. Fe2O3 plus 3CO would give you 2 moles of iron and 3 moles of carbon dioxide. This reaction is called redox reaction. State the meaning of the term redox reaction, in which oxidation and reduction occur simultaneously. What is oxidation? Oxidation is adding oxygen, removing hydrogen, losing electrons or increasing in the oxidation number. And what is reduction? Reduction means removing oxygen, adding hydrogen, gaining electrons or decrease in oxidation state. Okay. Part 2. Explain how carbon monoxide as a reducing agent in this reaction. We can see that carbon monoxide acts as a reducing agent. If we look at CO, it turns into carbon dioxide. It is CO2. It means CO removes oxygen from this iron to oxide, or you can say CO gains oxygen to form carbon dioxide. So either of explanation would be considered correct to show that it is a reducing agent. Part B. Calcium carbonate is added to the blast furnace. The calcium carbonate undergoes thermal decomposition. So that's why they form calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. The thermal decomposition of the calcium carbonate is endothermic. Endothermic reaction are those that absorb energy from the surrounding. Complete the reaction pathway diagram in the figure 2.1 show the reactant and the products and the label arrow for the activation energy and the label arrow for the enthalpy change delta H. We can see that reactants have less energy compared to product. So this is for the endothermic reaction. So first we put line over here and put line, and the distance between reactants, the highest point in the graph would be called activation energy, and the difference between the reactants and product energy would call delta H, that would be enthalpy change. So this is how you get the 3 marks from this diagram, that is called energy profile diagram. Moving to is C part. Okay, C part is that describe how slag is formed into the blast furnace. This is a very famous reaction. Include a simple equation in your answer. So calcium and calcium oxide react with silicon oxide. You can see that calcium oxide with silicon oxide will produce calcium silicate, that is called slag. So this is the answer, and you must memorize this equation to get to full marks. Okay. Iron is a transition element. Transition element have colored compounds, state to other physical properties in that are typical transition element, not group 1 metals. So they have variable oxidation number, they have high melting and boiling point, they have high density, they also act as a catalyst. So you can write any 2 of it. I have provided more because answer key was showing all, so sometimes it helps to memorize more than 2. Okay. Option number E. The equation show that, question number E. The equation show the decomposition of the iron pentacarbonyl FeCO whole 5 in a closed container. That would give us Fe plus 5 carbon monoxide. Predict and explain what happens to the position of equilibrium when the pressure is decreased. Okay. Okay, when the pressure is decreased, then the temperature remains the same. We know that equilibrium will shift to the right, because when the pressure is decreased, the system try to increase the pressure by favoring the side with the more gas molecule. So according to Le-Chatelier principle. So when we what happens to when the pressure is decreased? When the pressure is decreased, it means the collision will happen low. But according to Le-Chatelier principle, the reactant, the change that is causing that, the reaction will behave to oppose that change. So this is called Le-Chatelier principle. So that's why when the pressure is decreased, the system try to increase the pressure. So more products would be formed, favoring the side with the more gas molecules. So option, so we write that. Okay. Next part, the reaction can be used to produce iron. Describe and explain by referring to the equation how how a sample of pure iron that is free from iron 5 carbonyl is produced from equilibrium mixture. By doing this reaction in an open system, when where carbon monoxide molecule escapes and equilibrium shift to the right, as long this CO will start to remove. Why? How is? Because it is carbon monoxide is a gas, so it will release in the atmosphere, or so that's why we do this reaction in the open container. When carbon monoxide will have less quantities, so the reaction will produce more iron, and the reaction will proceed in the forward way. So this is the reason for containing it to the for doing this experiment in an open container. Okay. Part F. Iron reacts with hot concentrated sulfuric acid. Okay. The products are iron 3 sulfate, sulfur dioxide, and a liquid that turns anhydrous copper sulfate to blue. So we need to know that this would be H2O, because it does not write in a clear sense, but this is the indication that that will produce water. Okay, construct the symbol for the reaction. So we know that iron reacts with concentrated sulfuric acid. So iron plus concentrated sulfuric acid, that is H2SO4, and it will produce iron 3 sulfate. And what would be this formula? Fe2SO4 whole thrice. And sulfur dioxide has a formula of SO2 and water. So you need to balance it. So over here it is 2, so we put 2 over here, and okay, we know that over here the sulfur is 3, and over here this is 1, and oxygen over here are 4, oxygen over here are 12, and also 1 over here. So by doing 3 SO2, 6 H2O and 6 H2O, so now you can see there are 12 hydrogen, and over here there are 12 hydrogen. There are 3 to the 6, 6 plus 6 12, and 4 is a 12, 24 oxygen, and 6 4 is 24. So all elements are balanced finally, and sulfur is also balanced. 3 sulfur 3 plus 3 6. So this is how you need to complete the reaction and show with the balanced chemical equation. You need to practice it. Nowadays examiner would not give deduct marks if you put this reaction without balancing. Okay, figure 3 point show question number 3 is from the topic of electrolysis. Figure 3.1 show the operators used for the electrolysis of a concentrated aqueous sodium chloride using graphite electrodes. Okay, label the cathode on the figure 3.1. We know that cathode is negatively charged. Electrode. Explain why concentrated aqueous sodium chloride conducts electricity. Because they have ions that can move freely, that's why they conduct electricity when they are in the form of aqueous. Name the product that is formed at the cathode. At cathode, hydrogen would be formed because hydrogen is positively charged. Chlorine is formed at the anode. Construct the half equation for the reaction of this. Two chloride ions will produce chlorine gas, and 2 electrons will release. So this is how we complete this reaction. Graphite is suitable as an electrode because it conducts electricity. State one other property of graphite that make it suitable for the use as an electrode. So we use graphite because it is also unreactive. Okay. Part E. State the product that is formed at the cathode when molten sodium chloride is electrolyzed. When molten sodium chloride is electrolyzed, so now at cathode the sodium will be produced. So this was a 6-mark question from the topic of electrolysis. Question number 4 and 7 is from the topic of organic chemistry. Question number 4 over here is that the question is about alkanes and alkenes. Okay, but1-ene belongs to the alkene homologous series. Member of the same homologous series differ from one member to the next by CH2 group. This is the property of homologous, and they have similar chemical property. State 2 other characteristic of homologous series. So you need 2 is given in the paper, and you need to give other 2. So they all have the same function group, they all have the same general formula. So you can write these 2. Part B. Figure 4.1 show display the formula of but1-ene. Okay. Explain how figure 4.1 show that but1 is unsaturated compound, because carbon is containing double bond, so that's it is an unsaturated compound. Okay, moving to next part. Give the structure of formula of but1-ene. The structure formula would be like CH3, CH2, then CH double bond CH2. So you need to write it. That's an easy one mark. Draw the displayed formula of an isomer of but1-ene. So it means we need to change the position of the double bond. Earlier it was at 1-ene, so isomer can have at this position. So we will put double bond over here. First it was here in but1-ene, and in other option it would be but2-ene. So we will put double bond over here, and first we need to write 4 carbons, then in between them put double bond or between carbon, and rest will complete with hydrogen. Next part. Next part is that draw the displayed formula of an isomer of an butane. You can also write this as isomer if you can show it like that. So these both would be considered the isomer of butane, but you can draw only one in the exam. So this is how your double bond between carbon and carbon we have showed it in a branch way. Okay. Moving to C part. C part is that undecaying C11H24 is present in the kerosene or paraffin fraction from the distillation of petroleum. Give one use of the kerosene and paraffin fraction. It is used in the jet fuel, so you can write that. When undecaying is cracked, shorter hydrocarbon molecules are formed. Construct the symbol equation for a reaction in which undecaying is cracked and the only products are butane, propene and ethene are formed. So first we need to build the reaction C11H24. Now we can see that butane is produced. Butane, the formula for the butane is C4H10, and propene has the formula of C3H6. Now ethene has a formula of C2H4. Now you need to balance the equation. These are the three products. How many carbon atoms are there? There are 11 carbon atoms over here. 4, 3, 7, 7 plus 2, 9 carbon atoms are over here. So there are 2 less carbons. So if we put 2 over here, it will have 11 carbon. Now you need to check for hydrogen. Hydrogen is 24. Over here it is 10. 10 plus 6, 16. 16 plus 8, it is 24. So this is balanced. Okay. Next part is that propane reacts with chlorine to form chloropropane and one other product, that is X. C3H8 plus Cl2 would give you C3H7Cl plus X. Name the product X. We know that it will produce hydrogen chloride. Same way when chlorine react with HCl will produce chloroform. This is a famous reaction. So the product over X would be hydro. And state the essential condition for this reaction is sunlight or ultraviolet light. You can write. Moving to E part. E part is ethane reacts with bromine at room temperature. Figure 4.2 show the displayed formula of the reactants and the products. Okay, calculate the enthalpy change. This is the addition of bromine, so this reaction is called bromination. Okay, calculate the enthalpy change of this reaction in kilojoule per mole. Use the bond energies in table 4.1 that is given. Okay, first we need to know how many carbon double bonds are coming in carbon hydrogen double. So over here you can see there are 1 carbon double bond. So I will write over here as reactants. So 1 carbon double bond, and how much it has energy, that is 612. Okay, next is carbon hydrogen. There are 4 carbon hydrogen, 4 carbon and hydrogen, and what is their energy? 4 into 4, 13. Next is bromine. So 1 bromine, and what is the energy of 1 bromine? You can see that it is 193. So 1 into 193, or you can simply write 193 over here. So this is how you have completed for reactants. Now for the products. From the products you can see there are 4 1 carbon single bond. You can write 1 carbon, and what is 1 carbon single bond has an energy of 347. And you can see there are 4 carbon hydrogen, CH. So 4 carbon hydrogen, and carbon hydrogen have the bond energy of 413. So it is should be multiplied by 4 because there are 4. Okay, now you can see that there are carbon bromine. So there are 2 carbon and bromine bond, So you need to multiply it by 2, and what is this bond energy? That is equal to 290. If you look carefully, this is similar in both reactants, so you don't need to add them. You can cancel because ultimately they're gonna subtract, so you're gonna cancel it and simply now add 612 into 193 because they have the same effect. So it would be equal to 805 and this would be equal to 927. Now you need to subtract it to get the delta H value. That would be 805 minus 927, and that would be equal to minus 122 kilojoule per mole. So this would be your final answers. You need to write in the answer space minus 122 kilojoule per mole. Hopefully you get the understanding of this question. Second part, describe the color change when a sample of excess ethene is added to a few drops of aqueous bromine. So it changes from orange to colorless. This is the bromination reaction. You need to memorize this change as well. Okay. Moving to question number 5. Question number 5 is that a student adds large pieces of copper to carbonate to dilute sulfuric hydrochloric acid. The copper to carbonate is in excess. Complete the equation by adding the state symbol for the product. State symbol would be salt will produce in the aqueous, water will produce in the liquid, and carbon dioxide will produce in the gaseous form. Next part is figure 5.1 show how the mass of the reaction mixture changes with the time as the reaction is proceeding. In another experiment, powdered copper to carbonate is used instead of lard. So powder carbonate will have the greater surface area, and the large surface area will have to increase the rate of reaction. Okay, all other condition and the mass of copper to carbonate stay the same. Draw a line on the grid in the figure 5.1 to show how the mass of the reaction mixture changes with time. You can see that we need to draw the graph with a steeper slope. So steeper slope is why because the reaction will start increasing at the increaser rate, so that's why its mass starting to decrease in less time. So we have put the slope like that, and after some time it will reach the equilibrium level and they both will have the same mass at the end of this reaction. So this is how you're gonna plot this line. The below bottom line is we have drawn. Okay, moving to a second part. Second part is that the initial experiment is repeated using large piece of copper carbonate and hydrochloric acid of a higher concentration. All the other conditions stay the same. Describe and explain the difference in the rate of reaction when hydrochloric acid of a higher concentration is used. At higher concentration, rate will increase because now they have more chances of collision because particles are more, so they will be more crowded, so the particles will collide more frequently, so the rate of reaction will increase ultimately. Now the next question is part C. Excess copper to carbonate is added to 22 centimeter cube of 0.500 mole per dm cube hydrochloric acid. Calculate the volume of the carbon dioxide release measured at room temperature and pressure. Give your answer to two significant figure. So this is the question from the topic of the mole. Earlier at the start of the question the reaction was given, so I am writing from the paper. CuCO3 that was given plus HCl would produce CuCl2. Okay, CuCl2, and it is also produce H2O and CO2. Okay, so we have been provided that excess copper carbonate is added 22 centimeter cube. Over here the volume is 22 centimeter cube. So you need to convert into the decimeter by 22 dividing by 1000, so it would be 0.022 decimeter cube, and the concentration was given, that is equal to C is equal to 0.5 mole per dm cube. We can calculate the moles by multiplying concentration into volume. So concentration is 0.4 0.022 and the volume volume was this and concentration is 0.5. So you get the answer that is equal to 0.11. okay, 0.011. okay. So from the balanced chemical equation over here, it was 2 HCl and you need to compare it with the carbon dioxide to calculate the volume. So from the balanced chemical equation, you can see that there are 2 moles of HCl and 1 mole of carbon dioxide. Over here there are 0.011 moles, so half of it would be 0.011 by 2. okay, so to calculate this would be moles, so you need to multiply it by its molar volume, and molar volume is 24 decimeter cube. So after multiplying, you get the answer that is equal to 0.13 dm cube. So this is your final answer, 0.13 decimeter cube. okay. Next part, D. Describe the observation made when the few drops of aqueous ammonia are added to an aqueous solution containing copper 2 ions. So it will produce light blue precipitate. You need to memorize it. Excess aqueous ammonia is added to form an aqueous solution containing copper 2 ion. It dissolves to form dark blue solution. Again, you need to memorize it. An ionic compound of copper has the formulas of Cu2O. Reduce the oxidation number of copper in Cu2O. So we know that there are 2 elements of copper, and you need to find the oxidation number. So you put X over here, and oxygen has the oxidation number of -2, and this is overall neutral, so equal to 0. So 2x is equal to 2, then x is equal to 1. So this is your oxidation number for the copper in this compound, that would be +1. okay. Moving to C part, describe how to prepare crystals of ammonium chloride by reacting aqueous ammonia with dilute hydrochloric acid. This is the formation of salt. And titrate aqueous ammonia with HCl acid-base titration. Repeat titration without indicator. Evaporate, filtrate to crystallization point, and slowly let it cool down and dry the crystal. So this is how you complete the experiment. So these are the 4 steps. You need to write it. Any 3 steps will be written, we consider full to get 3 marks. Okay. Question number 6. Question number 6 is that figure 6.1 show the structure of the zinc sulfate and sulfur dichloride. Zinc sulfide has a structure similar to the diamond, zinc atoms and sulfur atoms and disulfur chloride. Explain why zinc sulfide does not conduct electricity. Use the information in the figure 6.1. It does not conduct electricity because there are no mobile electrons available. In predict one other physical property of the zinc sulfide. It should have high melting point because its structure is similar to diamond. Explain why disulfur dichloride has a low melting point. Use the information because they have weak intermolecular forces, so that's why they have the lower. Complete figure 6.2 to show the dot and cross diagram for the electronic configuration of disulfur dichloride. Okay, show only the 2 outer shells. So show only the outer shell electron. Okay, over here carbon, sulfur, we need to know that chlorine has 7, 1 2 3 4 5 6 and the 7 and 1 would be cross, and sulfur has 6, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and this dot is from this sulfur, 1 2 3 4 5 6, and this cross is from this. So overall it would be 8, and cross 7, and 1 cross with the dot over here would make it to 8. So this is how you complete this dot and cross diagram. This is a very good question in the variant 22 it's shown the hydrazine, and over here it shows the disulfur dichloride. Okay, next is disulfur dichloride reacts with water as shown in the with the water as shown. Okay, S2Cl2 plus 3H2O. Okay, 13.5 gram of disulfur chloride reacted with 8 gram of water. Show by calculation that the water is excess. So we need to calculate the moles. So how many? It has 13.5. So you need to divide it by its molar mass, and sulfur has a molar mass of 32. So over here 2 elements. So multiplied by, and chlorine has a mass of 35.5. So 2 multiplied by 35.5. You get the answer that is equal to 0.1 moles for S2Cl2. And now you need to calculate for H2O. H2O has 8 gram, and 2 into 1 plus 16, it would be 8 by 16, and you get the answer that is equal to 8 by 16, that is equal to 0.444. Now the question is not completed here. Over here you can see there are 1 mole, and over here you can see there are 3 moles. So you need to divide it by 3 to get the fair comparison. After dividing it by 3, you get the answer that is equal to 0.148, and this 0.148 is greater than this. So this shows that water is in excess, hence it is proof. Okay, if you not show this working, your 1 mark would be deducted. So this is very important working. You need to divide it by 3. Okay, next is sulfur dioxide is an air pollutant. Okay, sulfur dioxide is an air pollutant. State one adverse effect of the sulfur dioxide in the air. It is produce acid rain. Okay, and describe 2 ways of reducing the emission of sulfur dioxide in the air. Flue gases desulfurization will produce the less sulfur dioxide, and you can use renewable energy resources or other energy resources to produce less sulfur dioxide. Moving to last question of this paper, question number 7, that is from the topic of polymerization or macromolecules. Propanoic acid can be represented by the formula of CH3 CH2 COOH. Propanoic acid reacts with methanol to produce an ester. Name the ester formed and draw its displayed formula. So its displayed formula would be methyl, because this name would come from the relevant alcohol. This was methanol, so methyl will produce, and this would come from the acid was propanoic acid, so propanate will produce. So its name will be methyl propanate. Display the formula. You know that H3OH is the formula of the alcohol. You can write it like that. And from here hydrogen will remove, and over here the formula for the acetic acid is like that, propanoic acid. Okay, over here hydrogen 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 and double bond oxygen and OH. Over here OH and H will make water, and this single bond of carbon and this oxygen bond will make this formula. Okay, next is propanoic is a weak acid. Explain how this equation showed that propanoic acid is an acid by referring to the proton. Proton is transferred from the acid to water, so that's why it is an acid. By the definition, is producing hydronium ions, so that's why this is water. Acetic acid is a weak acid. The acid is not fully dissociated the protons, so that's why it is a weak acid. Propanoic acid reacts with magnesium. Name the 2 product in this reaction, you need to know that whenever the metal reacts with acid, it will produce relevant salt and hydrogen gas is released. So you need to write that magnesium propanate and hydrogen. So this was an easy question, easy marks. Magnesium is a solid at room temperature. Describe the motion and separation of the particles in the solid. Motion. The particles in a solid vibrate in fixed position but do not move freely because they are tightly packed and their intermolecular forces are stronger. Separation. The particles are closely packed together in fixed arrangement with very little space between them, or almost no gap between them. Next part is very important. Figure 7.1. Okay, now you can see the full part. Figure 7.1 show the simplified structure of the two molecules that combine to form a polyamide. So this is dicarboxylic acid and this is diamide. Complete the diagram to show the structure. You need to know that this is the formula for carboxylic acid, and if it's a dial, it should be UCOO. And whenever this formula use OH and H will OH from acid and H from this amide will produce water, or you can draw it like that, that will produce water, and from here it will also produce the water. Now this carbon double bond and this carbon needs one bond, and this nitrogen also need to form one bond, so they will attach with nitrogen. Similarly, it will attach with nitrogen as well. So this is the linkage. Now we need to complete it. Over here the box was given, so I know that this box is attached with N and N at both sides, so I have put N and N over here, and over here is one hydrogen is released, so I have put one hydrogen, and over here the hydrogen is also released, so I put one hydrogen. Now over here this was the shaded box, and shaded box is for carboxylic acid group, and you can see that it was C double bond O, so I have put C double bond O, and I have attached this carbon with this nitrogen. And now this shaded box again carbon double bond oxygen, and again I have attached carbon with nitrogen. Then this unshaded box, and at unshaded box their both sides should be with nitrogen. Then again this nitrogen attached with carbon, and again this shaded box has carbon, and so on. This reaction will this chain will continue as long as number of molecules we know how many are there. So we need to complete this diagram. So this is how we will complete. Practice this question. This question would be most likely to be asked in next session, so you need to memorize these values. Okay, you need to complete that question and understand this. This is a very important and key concept. Okay, moving to its next part. Polymers. Polymers are polymers. State the meaning of the term polymer. Okay, we know that polymers are the macromolecules formed from repeating units called monomers. Okay, next is polymers are condensation polymers. State one difference between condensation polymerization and addition polymerization. In addition polymerization there are only one product that is formed, and for condensation polymerization byproduct is formed, or two products are formed. Or you can also read like that: in addition polymers small molecules are eliminated, and no small molecules are eliminated in addition polymer, and small molecules are eliminated in condensation polymerization like water. And you can also read addition polymer have the same empirical formula as the monomer. I am reading from the answer key, and the condensation polymer does not have the same empirical formula as the monomer. An addition polymer made from monomers with carbon with double bond, and condensation polymers uses monomers with two functional groups. So you can write any one from that differences that are given by the examiner in their answer key. There are four differences. I have put this was the most easiest. Hopefully you get the understanding of this paper. If you do have any queries related to this paper, you can ask in the comment section. I have tried to explain it in detail, but somehow this is a one-way communication and we are limited to communicate in that way. So you can ask in the comment to get in detail. And thank you so much for supporting, and best wishes for your upcoming exam. Prepare and study hard for getting good grades, and make your parents and family proud. So do share this video to your friends and community to support our channel and cause. Thank you so much once again for watching this. Allah Hafiz.